So we can just have some chiropractic time. This last speaker right here is a graduate of Parker College. His last name is Stamatis. Very good. Thank you. Jen, did you hear that? Stamatis. And she said it.
Yeah.
Good job, Dr. Jordan.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This cat, guys, the whole lineup today is just awesome. I've appreciated every last one. Appreciate all you guys being here. Many years ago, when we were transitioning out of an organization, and it was a battle, a constant battle, and I was a little bit tired, and I had been trying to get something going in the non-therapeutic model. I've been trying to get seminars going, the organization going, keep the people together who wanted to practice in this model together. And I just wasn't having a whole lot of cooperation. And I got a wonderful call during a time where my physiology was just not very positive. And I had traveled a lot, spent a lot of money, and was just really not getting the outcome that I was hoping for. So I get this wonderful call from a young fellow who says, hey, I was thinking, we need to keep this going. We need to get things rolling. What's going on, man? Let's get an organization together. And I was like, you know what? Why don't you do it and I'll join. That sounds great. Thank God he never lost his optimism. Thank God he's here today, and you're gonna know why. Without further ado, from Parker College, from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, right here, Stamatis. Sir.
All right. Where to begin? Well, I was kind of counting on there being a few more students here, but the ones that are important are here. A lot of this talk will be geared toward you, because these people already have their practices built. But so
I need help too.
yeah, everybody does. Everybody needs help, so that's always a good thing. So we start with asking, what type of practice do you want? You know, these aren't completely exclusive, but you have the choice of a therapeutic symptom-oriented practice or a non-therapeutic vertebral subluxation correction practice, insurance-based, cash-based, care-based on symptoms, weekly spinal checks, individuals, families, crisis care, what we call the revolving door practice, because people will either get well or they won't, and they'll leave either way, or if you want people here for a lifetime. And you have to decide which type of practice you want. Any choice that you make is yours, own it, and be happy with it, but these are kind of the two different options. Being somewhat inherently lazy, I want to do stuff right the first time and not have to keep going back to it, And I think that try to keep the ideal with the practice is to try to keep it as simple as possible, but not simpler than it needs to be, and that's Albert Einstein's quote. And the thing about the non-therapeutic model of chiropractic, it is so logical and so simple that people forget it and tend to overcomplicate it and try to muddy the water with it and make it more than what it is. And we need to kind of remember that it's a simple concept, so we shouldn't really forget it. For a talk that I did in the Garden State, I wanted to do some stats, and from every patient who came in between mid-March to mid-April of 2017, these are some of the basic stats for my practice. Almost 80% started care with no symptoms. Started care.
Wow.
They walked in wanting just to get their spine checked. 75% have been coming an average of 6 years. That number is a little lower because I had a whole bunch of new people coming in during that time, so it should, it would actually have been longer if it wasn't for that. 36% were under the age of 18 years of age. 96% were referred by another practice member. I have not done any advertising or marketing outside of my website in almost a decade, other than maybe, sponsoring my son's soccer team in some type of, one-time ad, which wasn't going to generate a huge amount of people coming in. So this has all been stuff that I've built and things that have continued based on the foundations that I've laid in the practice. And the foundation has been the philosophy. The philosophy is what will create an understanding for your practice members and pretty much do all those things listed here. It will protect you, keep you humble, give your practice life and meaning. I have a few colleagues that I go to breakfast with every couple of Tuesdays. In fact, we have a breakfast meeting scheduled for this Tuesday. They're still stuck in the therapeutic model. They're all insurance-based. I laugh at them every time we go in a nice way. They know, because they're miserable. Insurance changes hourly. They're always pulling their hair out, trying to figure out what they're going to do next. And I just sit back laughing. I'm the guy with the box on the wall, and I'm just laughing at them. It helps you through tough situations, and I can't imagine a practice where every person who comes in, you have to document what hurts, and this hurts, I can't do this, I can't do that. It would drive me crazy. Talk about burnout in 2 weeks, I would last about a day in a practice like that. Everybody's miserable. How could you enjoy that, Your philosophy will limit you to just chiropractic, keep you from venturing outside your scope, and it will also allow you to handle pretty much any situation that occurs in your office if you have a solid foundation in the philosophy. There are 7 controlling convictions out of Joe Strauss's Practice Building for Straight Chiropractors that I kind of base my whole practice on. I think the problem we have in chiropractic, forget the fact that we don't, as a profession, don't have a complete congruent definition as to what chiropractic is. We don't even have a definition of what medicine is. If the definition of medicine is a profession that diagnoses, treats, and prevents disease, and as a chiropractor you're doing that, then you're in medicine, you're not in chiropractic. So I think if chiropractors realize that that's the definition of what medicine is, and chiropractic is a separate and distinct profession, then we shouldn't be doing any of that stuff. We should be limiting to just what chiropractic is, which is number 2. A profession whose objective is correcting vertebral subluxations to enable the forces generated by the innate intelligence of the body to better express itself. We all obviously recognize the law of innate intelligence, which is superior to our wisdom, and then all these other controlling convictions. And if you base your chiropractic on these 7 things, that's a good foundation. It's a good way to start. And especially number 7, there are certain issues that are not debatable and others that are debatable and others that are not. Good not to compromise on certain things. Focus on why. Why do we do what we do? Why is it important? That is how your community will will care as to why it's important for them to be checked regularly. And I want that bottom quote. I want everybody to have, coming into my office, to have that attitude, that they would keep me at gunpoint until they could bring their family in for me to check their spine. Now, luckily, I practice in a home office, so I don't have to, I'm not leaving the office and going, anywhere except for home. But, I want them to do whatever it takes to want to get their families checked. From the book, Start With Why. Have you read that book yet?
I haven't on books. It's on my bookshelf.
Okay, that is a good book to read. They talked about, he talked about Steve Jobs and Apple. A lot of companies. The TED Talk that he does is excellent. Yeah. So that is a great basis for how to communicate what you do. Everybody, should be correcting vertebral subluxations and educating people about chiropractic. That is what we do. How we do it is whatever analysis we do. The why, so that everybody in my community can have a better opportunity to live to their human potential and create a better world for everybody. I don't know anybody who wouldn't get behind that, right? if you want a better world for everyone in your community, how's somebody going to be like, yeah, I don't care, So we all benefit from that. The rising tide raises all the boats. This is kind of the things you want to instill in your practice members, so that if they could see a world where everybody has a clear nervous system, functioning well, so that the teacher teaching their kids is doing the best job, that the person at the bank handling their money is not making mistakes, or has a better opportunity to do everything the way they're supposed to do that. We all benefit from a community like that, and that's kind of what we need to impart on people. So we got to talk about risk management in this type of practice, right? Every practice carries some form of risk. People will have mentioned before, oh, this is illegal, you can't do that, you need to do this, you don't need to do that. I don't know if you've priced malpractice insurance or not yet, but by far, the cheapest malpractice rates come for people who practice this type of chiropractic. In fact, in the state of New Jersey, a couple of years ago, malpractice wasn't even required by state law, because the state scope was only adjusting vertebral, checking the spine and adjusting vertebral subluxations. They expanded the scope in New Jersey so that now chiropractors can tell people to take vitamins, and now you need malpractice insurance.
Wow.
So
Wow.
to check and adjust people's spines, you didn't really need to do that. Now, you'd be a fool not to carry it just because people, you could have crazy people who want to sue you for everything, anything. But, the state didn't see checking and adjusting the spine a big risk. Telling someone to take vitamin C now becomes a risk. So if something, that small is, shows you how safe this is, But if you're going to be practicing, whatever way you practice, whatever way you choose to practice, are you the only one doing this? It's good to have an organization that supports and you can point to, or if heaven forbid something does happen, say, I'm not the only lunatic doing it this way. There's a whole organization with chiropractors throughout the country who are doing that. There's a movement that does it. So it will stand up better in court and make it look like you're not the only person who's doing that. Everything you say and do in your office, you are responsible for. Language is important. Language is key.